got married in the morning in Marion, Alabama. New Orleans is 300 miles away. My mother was entertaining, having a wedding reception in New Orleans at 6 that evening. So we were probably driving a little too fast. And we got we got a ticket in Mississippi, Purvis, Mississippi. And, but anyway, the only thing was that her roommates, who happened to be white, were driving together, and we were all in the same caravan. They didn't give them a ticket, they gave all of the black folk tickets. So my mother got in the car with them and drove on to New Orleans and left us to deal with the sheriff.
Is it true that the sheriff said when he found out that you were married, maybe I should let you spend the night in different cells?
Yeah, and that was a Mississippi sheriff, but fortunately, he was just kidding.
Okay.
And I'm a Southerner. I used to drive around Mississippi, went to YMCA camp, and I never was intimidated by white folks, country white folks from Mississippi, and I wasn't upset about racism. I mean, I expected it, and I dealt with it, and I never got upset, and I never let it, I stayed in control of my dialogues with white people, rich or poor. And so we didn't have an incident, but that was 1954, after Gene had graduated. And so we got married and went to Thomasville, Georgia. But now, we're talking about me, and we're supposed to be talking to the church.
You are talking to the church. The church needs to know about this. We've got living history here. So tell me this. We've gone from the ministry to the marriage. How did you get to the movement, the civil rights movement?
Well, when we got married, we signed to Thomasville and Beachton, Georgia.
Two different churches.
Two different churches.
Right.
30 miles apart. And Maynard Jackson, who was the mayor of Atlanta later on, his grandfather was the head of the Prince Hall Masons. And they were working with the NAACP Legal Defense Fund to end voter suppression in 1954.
Isn't that something? We're still dealing with that.
Yeah, but he asked me if I would run a voter registration drive in Thomasville.
This is Maynard's father?
Grandfather.
His grandfather. Okay.
John Wesley Dobbs. And he was the head of the Prince Hall Masons. And Thurgood Marshall had been working with them on the Primus King case in Columbus, Georgia.
Let's take a break just for a minute.